cannot express how excited I am to meet you.
Leon Prater isn't just obsessed with serial killers. He funds them, recruits them, and collects their trophies. So when Dexter Morgan walked into his dinner party, pretending to be someone else, why didn't he recognize the most infamous killer of them all? Because if Prater really did know, then this changes everything. Let's break down the theory that Leon Prater always knew Dexter was the Bay Harbor butcher, and why that detail might be the most dangerous secret in the entire show. Leon Prater is no ordinary billionaire. He's built a secret empire around serial killers, recruiting them, rewarding them, and tracking their crimes like a collector tracks fine art. He doesn't just admire them, he studies them. And among his obsessions, 3 of the most important names in Dexter's legacy: the Ice Truck Killer, the Trinity Killer, and of course, the Bay Harbor Butcher. That last one should have set off every alarm. So why didn't it? Let's be clear, Dexter's name has been tied to the Bay Harbor Butcher case in multiple public records. Captain Maria Laguerta arrested Dexter Morgan for murder in front of Miami Metro PD. In public, she died chasing the truth. Molly Park, a popular true crime podcaster, openly questioned the official narrative, suggesting James Dokes was framed and the real butcher was still out there. Her theory was so public, it reached podcast charts and Reddit threads, places any serial killer fanatic like Prater would devour. Dexter Morgan's face wasn't hidden. His name appeared in police reports, news articles, court records, and most notably, Laguerta's own investigation files. Anyone doing a deep dive into the Bay Harbor Butcher case, especially someone like Leon Prater, who literally owns blood slides and serial killer artifacts, would have seen Dexter's name and face repeatedly. It's not just that Prater missed it, it's that he missed it so many times that it feels mathematically impossible. Then there's Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer. Prater owns Mitchell's actual hammer. This isn't casual fandom, this is obsession. And guess what? Trinity's last victim was Rita Morgan, Dexter's wife. Her death broke his pattern, drew headlines, and connected directly to Dexter's name in every FBI file. Even more damning, police sketches of Kyle Butler, Dexter's fake identity used to infiltrate Trinity's life, match Dexter's face. Detective Quinn even pursued this lead by showing Dexter's photo to Mitchell's family. Again, Prater had to know. He had the means, the motive, and the files. Here's the final nail in the coffin. When Harrison Morgan kills Brian Foster, he mimics the Bay Harbor Butcher's exact technique, down to the 9 garbage bags. This isn't common knowledge. It's not in podcasts or documentaries. Yet Prater, who recruits killers based on precise methodology, didn't flinch. No way. If he saw Harrison's kill, and he surely did, it would have forced him to dig deeper, and one background check would connect Harrison to Rita Morgan and Dexter. That dinner party, it wasn't just a recruitment, it was a test. There are 3 possible explanations here. The first is that this is a plot hole. The writers may have overlooked the sheer volume of evidence tying Dexter to Prater's obsessions. If so, this undermines Prater's credibility as an expert. How can we believe he's a genius if he misses the most infamous killer of all? The second is that it's deliberate misdirection. Maybe Prater does know, and he's waiting, testing Dexter, watching him squirm, waiting to see how far he'll go before snapping. If that's the case, we might be headed for one of the most intense psychological standoffs in Dexter history. The third is that it's a slow burn. We're only a few episodes into Dexter Resurrection. There's still time for the writers to reveal that Prater has been playing a long game, a chess match, a trap. So, what do you think? Is Leon Prater just blind to the truth, or does he already know exactly who's sitting at his table? If you're still watching, comment Prater knew down below, and let's see how many of us believe this theory. Make sure to subscribe for more dark theories, breakdowns, and hidden details from the world of Dexter. Thanks for watching. Batista finally connected the dots on Dexter Morgan, and once he did, there was no turning back. This isn't just another detective chasing a lead. This is a friend, a colleague, a man who looked the Bay Harbor Butcher in the eye for years and never saw it. Until now. But what changed? And what finally convinced Batista that Dexter Morgan wasn't who he claimed to be? After Dexter's apparent death in Hurricane Laura, Batista had no reason to dig deeper. He was mourning Deborah, dealing with Dexter's loss, and doing his best to move on. The idea that Dexter was the Bay Harbor butcher seemed buried alongside him. But something always felt off. Batista knew Maria Lagerta wasn't reckless. She was onto something before she died. And her theory? That Dexter was the real butcher. Still, without evidence, Batista let it go. Years passed. The puzzle pieces stayed scattered. Everything changed the day Batista attended a law enforcement conference. There, he met Angela Bishop. And Angela dropped the bombshell. Dexter Morgan wasn't dead. He was alive in Iron Lake, living as Jim Lindsay. And that wasn't even the worst part. Angela believed Dexter had killed again. Batista's shock turned into action. He grabbed the case file on Maria's death and planned a trip to Iron Lake the very next day. But before he could arrive, Dexter was shot by his own son, Harrison. Angela disappeared, and Officer Teddy Reed became the only source of information. Teddy had no clue about Dexter's past or Angela's suspicions, but Batista knew too much to walk away. He remembered the suspicious killing of Oliver Saxon. Dexter stabbed him in the neck with a pen on camera. Batista called it strange. Quinn waved it off as self-defense. Batista let it go, but never forgot it. And there was more. Maria Lagerta releases Hector Estrada to bait Dexter. Days later, Maria is dead. Dexter disappears during a hurricane, taking his son Harrison. Batista learns that Jim Lindsay is really Dexter Morgan, who abandoned his son and started a new life. Everyone who ever got close to exposing Dexter, Dokes, Lagerta, Stan Liddy, ended up dead. It wasn't a coincidence anymore, it was a pattern. Angela's message was the final push. She sent Batista a photo of her with Dexter. That image alone reopened everything Batista had suppressed. From that point, his mission changed. This wasn't just about visiting an old friend, it was about confronting the truth. Dexter wasn't just suspicious, he was the Bay Harbor butcher. When Batista finally reached Iron Lake, Dexter had survived the gunshot but vanished again.
Dexter Morgan's truck.
Where?
New York City. Truck matching his license plate got a speeding ticket.
Harrison took the truck. The trail was cold. Still, Batista pressed Teddy to alert him the moment Dexter's truck turned up again. The truth. Batista didn't need more proof. He knew Dexter was a killer. He knew Dexter had faked his death. He knew Dexter had a pattern, and that pattern always ended in blood. But knowing and proving are two different things. Dexter's code had protected him for decades, and every time someone tried to expose him, they ended up dead. Batista isn't naive. He knows the danger, but this time he's not chasing justice for Miami Metro or for Maria. He's chasing it for himself, for closure, for every question that never got answered. Batista finally saw the truth. The only question left is, will he survive it? If you're still watching, drop Dark Passenger in the comments below. We'll see you in the next video. Peter Dinklage is joining the Dexter universe, but not as a friend. According to major leaks and insider buzz, Dinklage isn't just playing a villain, he's hunting Dexter Morgan. That's right, the hunter is now the hunted. And this billionaire's twisted obsession with serial killers may be the biggest threat Dexter has ever faced. But who exactly is this man, and why is Dexter his next target? Peter Dinklage's role hasn't been officially confirmed by Showtime, but insiders describe him as a philanthropist tech billionaire with a hidden agenda. He collects, profiles, and tracks serial killers. Publicly, he's a genius investor with a spotless image. Privately, he's obsessed with predators, specifically ones like Dexter. Some believe he runs a private dark web network where he shares psychological case studies and footage. And now he's caught wind of a certain Bay Harbor butcher. Dexter's enemies were always emotional, unstable, or territorial. Think Trinity, Miguel Prado, or the Skinner. But Dinklage's character flips the script. He's cold, calculated, and well-resourced. He doesn't kill for chaos, he kills for control. He uses AI profiling, digital surveillance, and even bribes police departments to gain access to forensic data. And according to early plot theories, he knows about Dexter's code. That makes him the most dangerous type of enemy, one who doesn't just want to kill Dexter, he wants to understand and outsmart him. The theory goes like this. In Dexter, Resurrection, the world believes Dexter Morgan is dead. But when a string of murders start appearing that mimic his old MO, meticulous, blood-drained, plastic-wrapped bodies, this billionaire takes notice. Not because he's horrified, because he's fascinated. So he sends people, he buys records, he studies crime scene photos from Miami. He cross-references old reports and even blackmails someone in law enforcement who once worked with LaGuardia. He doesn't just think Dexter is alive, he's certain of it. And now he wants to find him, not to arrest him, but to capture him, study him, and eventually kill him to complete his collection. This sets up the most cerebral showdown in Dexter history. Unlike Dokes or Quinn or the FBI, Dinklage's character isn't trying to stop Dexter, he's trying to be better than him, to prove that he can crack the code of the world's most elusive serial killer and end him on his own terms. He begins leaving clues. He manipulates Dexter's surroundings. Some fans believe he'll lure Dexter in by targeting Harrison or referencing Harry's code, forcing Dexter to come out of hiding. This isn't a manhunt, it's a game, and Dexter might already be 3 moves behind. In previous teasers, we learned that Dexter Resurrection features 6 new serial killers. Some fans believe Dinklage's character isn't just one of them, he's the one pulling the strings. He's not a serial killer in the traditional sense. He recruits them, trains them, places them like chess pieces across the country. Each one represents a psychological type, and Dexter, he's the king. This would make him the architect of the entire season's conflict. And if he's building a killer-based economy, then Dexter is about to walk into a world where he's no longer the top predator, but just another specimen. For the first time in the franchise, Dexter is not in control. He's not hiding from cops or escaping angry rivals. He's being stalked by a man who's smarter, wealthier, and morally detached. This twist shatters everything we thought we knew. It forces Dexter to question whether the code still protects him. Because what happens when the person hunting you doesn't want to stop you, but wants to replace you? There's a chilling moment teased in the leaked concept trailer where a voice, assumed to be Dinklage's, says, "You hunt monsters, but me, I collect them." That line alone might define this new chapter. If this theory is true, Dexter Resurrection could become the most ambitious season yet. Not just a return, but a complete reversal of the original series dynamic. And with Peter Dinklage in the mix, the stakes have never been higher. Dexter has always been the smartest man in the room, but this time, he might be the one being watched. If you're still watching, comment "Dexter Hunted" so we know you're one of the real ones. And hit that like button if you want us to break down all 6 rumored serial killers next. Subscribe for more killer theories, and we'll see you in the next video. Dexter just made his first kill of the season, and it's not just about blood. Episode 3 may look like a standard return to form, but hidden in plain sight are clues about a much bigger game. A secret serial killer dinner party, a killer who stole Dexter's name, and a shocking retirement that changes everything. This episode isn't filler, it's the fuse being lit. From secret thumbprints to returning fan favorites, Dexter Resurrection Episode 3 is packed with setups that will explode later. Let's break down every clue, character reveal, and moment that proves this season is building to something huge and far more dangerous than anyone expected. We open with Dexter working as a Yorkar driver, a hilarious disaster, but also a clever disguise. He's awkward, he forgets to offer water, and he's terrible at small talk. But that's not the point. The job is the perfect cover to stalk his next target, the man calling himself the Dark Passenger. But things get risky fast. Blessing Kamara, Dexter's landlord, and one of the only truly decent people in this series, has a security camera aimed right at the house. One misstep and Dexter's cover is blown. Even worse, he has a low driver rating. But Blessing, ever the loyal friend, helps him improve, which only makes us more nervous. Because the more we like Blessing, the more likely this show is to rip him away from us. Longtime fans perked up the second they heard it. Patrick Bateman, one of Dexter's original aliases from the early seasons, returns as he orders a dose of M99. The supplier on the phone even references his past in Florida, which might seem like a throwaway line, but isn't. This moment drops a subtle clue. Someone out there still remembers Dexter Morgan. If the order gets flagged or the supplier connects the dots, it could blow his whole new identity. And then there's the eerie parallel. Patrick Bateman is from American Psycho, a killer obsessed with appearances.
Hi, is this Dr. Bateman?
Patrick Bateman. American Psycho was a formative read when I was 19.
This is he.
The fact that Dexter chooses that alias again tells us everything about where his head's at. He's not just hunting again. He's becoming who he used to be. And this time, the stakes are even higher. Detective Claudette Wallace is not just smart, she might be something much darker. She breaks down Harrison's story piece by piece, following logic that seems way too close to killer intuition. She notices the pristine hotel room, the missing camera footage, the kitchen drain, the garbage bags, the butcher knives, the knots, and concludes, correctly, that Harrison is hiding something. But how does she think this way? It's not standard police work. She's practically reverse engineering a kill, step by step. There's a theory floating around that Claudette either has a history with serial killers or might even be one herself. Even her emotional distance when confronting Harrison raises questions. Is she trying to help, or is she toying with him? Either way, she's getting dangerously close to the truth. And if she figures out what Harrison did to Ryan, it's only a matter of time before Dexter's past reemerges in full force. We finally get the reunion we've been waiting for. Quinn, Masuka, and Batista drinking together, laughing about old times. But here's the twist. Batista's not just retiring to relax, he's retiring to take Dexter down. He literally says, "You ever have that one thing you just can't let go?" He's planning to spend the rest of his life chasing the Bay Harbor butcher, and he's headed to New York. This raises major questions. Will Quinn follow him? Does he already suspect something? And if Masuka gets involved, could we see a full-blown Miami Task Force reunion? But there's something tragic here too. Batista has no badge anymore. He has no jurisdiction, just obsession. And that makes him vulnerable, especially in a city that doesn't want outsiders poking around. And if this season dares to kill Batista after giving him this much nostalgic buildup, that could be the most devastating twist of all. Red finally gets in the car and tries to strangle Dexter with a wire. Classic kill table reversal, but this time, Dexter is ready. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he's smarter. He wears a hidden piece of metal around his neck, repurposed from Blessing's rat barrier, and he fakes fear until the moment he injects Red with M99. Dexter is back. But this isn't just any kill. Red confesses he was recruited, given cash, invited to something bigger. The invite reads, "You're cordially invited to a dinner party for like-minded individuals, an opportunity to share your craft. There is more money if you're willing to sell your trophies." Dexter's face changes. This isn't about one killer, it's a network. He burns Red's body, but just before he finishes, he notices the invite requires a thumbprint. He races back to retrieve the thumb. It's darkly funny. It's classic Dexter, and it's the clearest signal yet. He's about to go deep undercover into a killer's club. The game is on. Here's where it gets crazy. Leon Prater, the billionaire behind the gala, is recruiting killers like they're artists. And Charlie, played by Uma Thurman, is his fixer. We've seen her kill. We've seen her track. So the big theory? Prater is assembling a serial killer suicide squad. He's offering money, validation, and even protection in exchange for their trophies, maybe even their loyalty. And Dexter is going to infiltrate this world by posing as Red, which raises one question: will he take them all out? Or will one of them take him out first? Dexter, Resurrection Episode 3 just changed the game. The Dark Passenger is dead, but now Dexter is stepping into a world where killers don't hide, they gather. And with Harrison's truth unraveling, Batista on the hunt, and Claudette possibly darker than she seems, this season is about to explode. What do you think is coming at the gala? Will Dexter survive infiltration, or is this the beginning of his end? Drop your theories below, hit like, and subscribe for next week's breakdown. We're just getting started. The city's terrified. A rideshare serial killer is stalking car drivers and dumping their bodies. They're calling him the Dark Passenger. But what if that name wasn't just symbolic? What if Dexter isn't just hunting this killer? What if he kills him and takes his identity? Because that might be the exact moment Dexter crosses paths with the billionaire puppet master of this season, the man fans are calling the Collector. This isn't just a fan theory. Episode 2 quietly lays the groundwork, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with what we know. There's a new serial killer operating in New York, one who targets car drivers. Victims are being dismembered and dumped. The media has already given him a nickname, the Dark Passenger. That's not just a nod to the past. That's a signal. Because in Dexter's world, the Dark Passenger isn't a killer. It's a concept. It's the name he gave to his own inner voice. the urge to kill. So when the show introduces a real-life murderer using that name, it's not a coincidence. It's bait. And Dexter, he's taking it. In episode 2, he makes it clear he wants to go undercover as a your car driver to track this new killer. But let's be honest, when Dexter tracks someone, he doesn't stop at surveillance. He gets inside their mind, follows their patterns, and then he ends them. But what if this time he doesn't just kill him? What if he takes his place? The theory goes like this. Dexter finds the dark passenger, the real one, the killer terrorizing rideshare drivers, and he kills him. But instead of walking away, he takes his clothes, his phone, his car, his identity. And that's when things escalate, because the original killer wasn't working alone. He was being watched by someone powerful, by someone rich, dangerous, obsessive, the man we believe is orchestrating the entire season. Peter Dinklage's character, known only in leaks and theories as the Collector. A billionaire who doesn't just admire serial killers, he collects them. And now, he thinks Dexter is one of his. This explains everything. Why Dexter ends up entangled with 6 new killers. Why he's drawn into a hidden network. Why he's being invited to a twisted game he never agreed to play because he assumed a mask. And that mask was already under surveillance. And now the Collector wants to meet him. Think about it. A rideshare job gives Dexter full access to the city. He can follow leads, enter gated buildings, cross paths with anyone. It's the perfect cover, not just for Dexter, but for the kind of killer the Collector is recruiting. And once Dexter slips into that role, he can't just walk away. The Collector believes in chaos, in survival of the fittest. And now that Dexter's wearing the face of one of his players, he has no choice but to play the game. This twist wouldn't just give Dexter a new identity, it would give him a new mission. Because for the first time, Dexter isn't hunting one killer. He's infiltrating an entire ecosystem of them. And here's the most disturbing part. To survive this world, Dexter might have to kill without the code. He might have to pretend to enjoy it, to kill in front of others, to become the kind of monster he always told himself he wasn't. All while the Collector watches, and maybe even tests him. What happens if one of the 6 killers grows suspicious? What happens if the Collector sets Dexter up? This isn't like the Ice Truck Killer or Trinity. This isn't a one-on-one showdown. This is Dexter entering a world designed by murderers. For murderers. And the irony? He got there by trying to be the good guy, by eliminating a threat, by doing what he's always done. But this time, there's no exit plan. This theory makes sense of everything. The billionaire connection, the multiple killers, the name Dark Passenger. It's all pointing to a single truth. Dexter didn't just return. He walked straight into the Collector's trap. If this twist hits in episode 3 or 4, you'll want to say you saw it coming. So smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Do you think Dexter is already playing someone else's game? Because if he really becomes the Dark Passenger, it won't be long before he's the one being hunted. Everyone's talking about how Harrison killed, the 9 pieces, the clean disposal, the code. But that's not the twist, because the real question is why he did it. Episode 2 just quietly planted something darker, a motive that has nothing to do with justice, and everything to do with revenge. And if you caught the clues, you already know. Harrison may be rewriting the code. On the surface, this looks like Harrison following in Dexter's footsteps. But if you look closer, it's clear he's walking a very different path. And it all starts with who he chose to kill, and how he reacted after. When we learn the victim was a repeat sex offender, it's easy to say, oh, okay, Harrison followed the code. Clean kill. Fits the criteria. Case closed, right? Wrong, because something about this kill feels off, and Dexter sees it too. From the second he hears the words 9 pieces, his face doesn't light up with pride. It drops in horror. Why? Because it's too clean, too deliberate. Harrison didn't just kill to protect someone, he wanted that man to suffer. Let's rewind. Earlier in the episode, Harrison plays the role of a charming young hotel worker. He's got a GED, a job, a life. Everything seems normal until one moment when a drunk man drags an unconscious woman down the hallway. Harrison sees it, stops it. There's a confrontation, tension, violence. dismembered, discarded in the exact method Dexter once used. And that's the twist nobody is talking about. Because yes, this mirrors Dexter's code, but this wasn't a carefully stalked kill with weeks of preparation. Harrison didn't build a profile, research evidence, or weigh the morality of what he was doing. He reacted. He saw someone about to hurt a woman, and his rage boiled over. Dexter's code was methodical, controlled. Harrison's kill, emotional, fast, personal, and that's what makes it so terrifying. Because when Harrison helped kill Kurt Caldwell back in New Blood, it was different. He hesitated. He needed convincing. He wanted to believe in the code, but he wasn't sure it fit him.
Like father, like son.
Now, there's no hesitation. In fact, he's confident. Too confident. He cleans up the mess. He leaves almost no evidence, just enough to make the NYPD chase shadows. And the worst part? He looks completely at peace with it. So again, the twist isn't that Harrison killed. It's that something in him changed. This wasn't just about justice. This was about control, about anger, about proving something. Think about his environment. New York City. Nobody's watching him. No father hovering over his shoulder. No guidance. Just freedom. And darkness. He's still a teenager, but he's already calculating. So what pushed him over the edge? Let's talk motive. It's easy to say he was protecting someone. And yes, he clearly stepped in during a dangerous moment. But when you compare his actions to Dexter's early kills, you notice something deeply unsettling. When Dexter is lying in that hospital bed, he's haunted by the possibility. Did I create something worse than myself? Even Harry, the father figure who invented the code, appears in Dexter's mind to warn him, not to justify what happened, but to challenge it.
Well, Harrison's lived a pretty fucked up life. Thanks
Harry
to you.
doesn't say, Harrison is following the code. He says, your son needs you. That's not a compliment. That's a warning. And it's all building toward one terrifying idea, that Harrison didn't kill because of the code. He killed to feel something, to process the pain, to punish the world that abandoned him. And once that feeling sets in, that power, that release, it's very, very hard to walk away. This is the twist the writers planted. Not that Harrison is the New Bay Harbor butcher, but that he might not care about rules at all. And the moment Dexter realizes that, everything changes. Dexter's finally starting to recover, his body's healing, his instincts are returning. But emotionally, he's more lost than ever, because this isn't the son he tried to raise in New Blood. That version of Harrison was angry, yes, but still reachable, still searching for identity, still unsure if the darkness inside him was real. But now, the mask is gone. Dexter says it himself. I taught him how to cut a body into 9 pieces. He didn't just pass on a code, he passed on a blueprint. And Harrison took that blueprint and ran. So what happens now? Dexter's worst fear is unfolding in real time. His legacy isn't being honored, it's being weaponized. And there's something else eating at him, something he doesn't say out loud, but we can feel it. Harrison didn't just do this without the code, he did it without Dexter. No guidance, no hesitation, no fatherly approval. He made the kill, covered his tracks. He doesn't need Dexter anymore. And that's the most dangerous version of Harrison we've ever seen. The final scene of the episode lingers on Dexter, staring out, unsure if he's chasing a killer or being hunted by one. Because the real twist isn't that Harrison killed again. The real twist is that he might never stop. And worse, he might not want to.